Hey, and we are live on Bead Maker and Coffee for February 27th, 2023. Welcome to our last episode of February. Today's show is brought to you by The Detailer, or Carter's Car Care in Dallas, Texas. They are a distributor partner for the day. Everybody's wearing their shirt that has their shirt on. And products of the show are, Sydney, it is... needs another hand. It is our carpet cleaning system, the stain system, Terminator, Carpet Bomber, and Finisher. Hopefully, the show will not finish us off. Our special guest today is Mr. Prentice St. Clair. So, with that, I will let Sydney take the show away.
Good morning, Prentice.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
A little bit.
A little bit?
You're
not good enough?
Quiet.
Okay. Let me plug in then. Go ahead and start the show, baby.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I know it's very early. I'm not sure about you guys, but it is cold. Look at this. You guys, you have to see this. Can you read that? It says, I made this myself.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So that's how today's going. So I know there's probably people in here from California that are going to be like, you be quiet. But we had here's the dog. We had a freak blizzard. I mean, we've kind of had like the same, snow on and off, but we had a freak blizzard last night at like 8:30 at night. And nobody could get back to my neighborhood. I think they said there was 9 cars that were off the road and just parked leading into my neighborhood. So I had to get out my espresso machine that's very nice that I've had forever that has not been turned on in 4 years. And I spent like 2 hours cleaning it, going through all the process. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't late this morning. So I didn't want to take the risk. So I made my own coffee, but I am heading down the hill as soon as we're done here because I am not very good at this. So thank you, everybody.
I've seen that machine before. Yeah.
I know. It's actually really nice, but I just don't know how to use it.
It looked like a museum piece is what it looked like.
Yeah. So the dog is here. So yes, we've had lots of exciting stuff. I know Prentice and Keith barely just got home. Keith maybe less than 3 hours ago. And so there's been a lot going on. So do you guys want to start off with what you did this weekend and then we'll get into our products? I need to let Piper out.
Okay. So
you guys go. Tell us what you've been up to.
What have we been up to, Prentice?
Oh gosh, what have we not been up to? Let's see. And how's the sound, by the way? Is that a little better?
Sounds great. Yep, you're good.
Okay, cool. Let's see. We were in Fort Worth, Texas for a number of days last week. We attended the Southwest Car Wash Association annual convention, which Keith and I have been doing for, I think, 10 or 11 years now, representing the International Detailing Association. Chuck Space, the executive director of Southwest Car Wash Association, is kind enough to give the IDA a booth space, and then we also do a couple of presentations, usually on the detailing side, and a couple other things there, and meet a lot of people. And we signed up some new members for the IDA. We were going to do a certification in a day on Friday afternoon, but as of Tuesday morning, I didn't have any signups and I had some other business to take care of. So we canceled that, unfortunately. And then let's see. And then on Saturday, we went over to Carter's and saw Anthony Brown and did a great ceramic coating class there, P&S ceramic coating class. Why don't you tell us about that part, Keith?
Well, let's start with Friday night. So on a whim on Thursday, we said, we're going to have a meet and greet. So we threw that out there on the social space land, and we got 16 detailers from around the area, most of whom were not in our class on Saturday. Show up. We had tacos at Torchy's Tacos. If you're from the Dallas area, you get it. If you're not, you don't. And then Saturday, we had a great class. We had 16 students and about 22, 23 of us there. Mm-hmm. Anthony Brown just does a killer job. He has a gorgeous shop. It was a family affair for him. He has father-in-law cooking and barbecuing for everybody, and his wife was there, daughter there, and and they just put on a heck of a great day. And we had a great class. We had 16 great students get inspiration qualified, certified. So all the way around, just a great day on Saturday. And wonderful to see one of our distributor partners and his storefront. I know I've got the storefront background up here, but as I said to Bob, between his swag and everything else, he's making us look bad because he does such a great job. So, and thank you for the shirts. I wish I could show you the back of this one. This is the shirt he gave everybody, and on the back it said "Certified with it," and it's clearly WIT space IT. So
Cool.
that's what we did, Sydney. But you had a wicked vehicle or two that came out of the shop this week, and I want to hear about those.
I did, yeah. So let's jump into our favorite products from last week. So, for the last several years now, I do a lot of coatings, and I've been just doing a lot of Legend. And for whatever reason, the last week it was kind of strange. And I always give everybody the option, and it's funny how sometimes I get so excited when people choose Inspiration Classic. And for whatever reason, last week, all of my customers chose Inspiration Classic, not necessarily because of the price, but because of how long they thought they were going to keep the certain car we were working on. And so that was totally cool. No problem. But on Friday, I had a 2021 Land Rover Defender, and it was hammered, as you can imagine, absolutely hammered. So, unfortunately, folks buy cars and they have no idea how to care for them. They assume that it's got brand new paint, so it should be good to go, right? And as all of us in this room, including in all the chat, you probably know, they are by no means meant to stand alone. And so this Defender was just hammered, both inside and out. I was really worried about the paint just because, sometimes those can give you some fussing. And I spent a day and a half on it. It was crazy, but I will say it was kind of fun. Like it wasn't hard. The paint actually responded very, very well to what I was doing. I got, I would say probably 90% of the marring and scratching out. There was a couple deep scratches, but for the most part, it was near dang perfect. And I only did one step, which that was cool. But there was just a lot of nooks and crannies, and I probably spent, I was kind of keeping track, and on my 3-inch polisher, which was the Rupes, the little new battery one, and then my Flex PXC 80, I was on 1-inch, and I ran both of those for a total of 3 hours, which that's usually my whole paint correction. And so it was just, trimming every little thing. It was crazy. Anyway, turned out amazing. But they had chose Inspiration, and I was kind of like, oh gosh, like all this work. I felt like I wanted to put like 7 layers of Legend on it, but not really. If Michael Hill, if you're listening, that was totally a joke. But it was kind of scary. But so I did 2 layers of Inspiration, and I can honestly say that was just, it looked bonkers for anybody that saw the video. That was totally unedited, no filters. That is what it looked like in real life pulling out of my garage. It was bonkers. And it really, I felt like that was the canvas that made me just realize how much I've always loved Inspiration Classic. It is just such a great coating. Not that Legend wouldn't have looked amazing as well, but it was, sometimes I think that that's one of my things with customers is I tell them, Legend, it adds a lot more depth, and it does, but I don't know, something about the Inspiration on that paint looked amazing. Absolutely crazy amazing. And so I just
Sydney, was your second coat sold?
No, actually I did 2 Inspiration because I was just nervous about this paint. The paint is so soft that I just really wanted to do 2 layers, and I don't normally do that. That I am always a base plus sole. But I did 2 layers of Inspiration just because I was nervous, but I think that was the right call on that vehicle. Just because it is so soft, and I know that they're going to take it through car washes again. But it was funny because I had a longtime customer who's been a customer for 12 years. She was waiting for the shop to be empty because she was trying to pull her car in for my daughter. And so she was standing at the end of the driveway when the Defender customer pulled it out, and she looked at me and went, wow. Like, that was crazy. It looked so crazy. So crazy. And then I almost had a little tear in my eye while I was driving away because it was, out in the real world. But so that's my product for last week. I used inspiration on 2 separate cars. What was the other one I did last week with inspiration?
You did another Rover, didn't you?
No. What was it? Shoot, I can't remember. I'll think of it. Anyway, I did 2 inspiration classics last week, and I just still love that product. And if anybody knows my past history, it hasn't always been a love of that product. So, yeah, I love
Well,
it.
I tell you, Sydney, with you talk about doing a coating on a car and finishing it and looking at it and just being astonished and how stunning it can look when you're done. And I say this in every class that I've taught, ceramic coating class that I've taught at PNS, that every time we do a step on the car, it looks amazingly better. And then you get to the end and you go, how is that even possible that it looks that good compared to what it was when we brought it in? And I think that's just a testament to the quality of the paint correcting and enhancing products that PNS has, and also the coatings. And they just work really well, and they really bring out that stunning look. And that's a Bob term. Bob Phillips came up with that term, and I'm absolutely grabbing it. But when you're talking to your customers about, well, what are some of the benefits of a coating? Well, we know the main benefits, protection, but one of them, and I really encourage you to use that kind of a term, it looks stunning when we're done.
Yep. And when we got done on Saturday, it looked stunning twice.
Yeah.
2 Corvettes.
Yeah.
We had a red Corvette and a gray Corvette, and they really did come out really amazing. One of them was a 96. So
was that a little red Corvette?
That was a little red Corvette.
It's my music background. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Oh, I get it.
On that note, I do want to give credit to my guy Kirby. That is Kirby. He is out of the Texas area, and he was with us this week in Dallas for the show. I want to give another shout out to a friend of mine who got home a little earlier than me, lucky son of a gun, and that was Joe Kimbo, who came down from Seattle area to spend the week with us and also go to the coding class. So really appreciated having him in the class, being a car captain with us and helping us out. So I've been obviously going through the good mornings. The usual cast of characters are here. Terry, good to see you. Jamie, thank you for the good mornings. TRC, dude, we love you guys. Thank you for having our backs and saying good morning. I'm just going to bounce through these as quick as I can and let
Romero, Terry. Yeah, they went to my class. All right.
They did. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Eddie's in Idaho.
Josh. Wow.
Fast Eddie's.
Anthony's here. Hi, hey, Anthony. Oh, I'll tell you what the highlight of that class was. Anthony's father-in-law, he didn't barbecue hamburgers. He smoked the hamburgers.
Oh, nice.
And you haven't had a hamburger until it's been smoked by Hurlis. Hurlis is a magician, and that food was so good. Oh, my gosh. I would have gone all the way there just for that.
That's awesome.
Now we know what it takes, Sydney. Now we know what it takes.
Yeah.
So, good morning from the Willamette Valley. I'm right there with you. There we go.
Fans of the TRC.
And we got lots of folks on this morning.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So hey guys, we are ready for questions and comments.
Yeah.
So.
All the good mornings. You might not be to it yet, but Tony saves the day in the comments. It was a Ford Maverick that I did with inspiration also, which was cool because it was that, what do they call it? Cactus gray, I think.
Samantha.
Yes.
It was cactus gray, and it turned out amazing too. It was a Ford Maverick trimmer. I didn't even know they made those. Crazy. Yes, Eddie. I saw Eddie say Idaho got taken to church last night. That's no joke, right? I'm so tired of the snow. Like, my whole backyard is just covered in snow right now. I'm so tired of it.
Locatello, look at that.
Hey, Samantha. Samantha Sweden's on. Hi, Samantha.
Nice and toasty.
Okay, Jamie.
He does have the humidity though, and I think I would trade him a few days of snow for humidity.
Well, we talk about that on the coding side. That was a question we got asked that I never thought we'd get asked in Dallas, Texas. But how cold can you go when you apply a coating? Because it was in the 40s when we got there that morning. So why don't you guys answer that question? There's the first question of the day. How cold is too cold for coating?
I would say what is it, about 40 degrees? I mean, I've not done it outside where it's been, it's been that cold outside, but I'm inside. And I've probably done it when my shop is 50 and it's totally fine. But I would think it's probably, if you're outside or in a totally uncontrolled environment, probably around 40. But you know what, honestly, I hear this question a lot. And you know what's honestly the most important thing is the temperature of the panels also. So if you have a car that's been outside overnight and it's freezing 20 degrees and you've got it inside and it's not a whole lot warmer in your shop, you're going to have a little bit more trouble because it's really the temperature of the surface is going to affect the coating more than the air temperature. I think especially when it's cold. Once we get into the heat, then it could be more the air because of the flash time. But really when it's cold, it's going to be more the temperature of the panel. So, if you can somehow warm the panels up, so wash it with, hot water, all of that, try to warm it up as best you can. And then I think probably, I would just say as long as the panel is not below freezing, you should be fine.
Yeah, I like to say 50 is kind of a target temperature for the shop, and on the low end. But we've done them lower. They just take a little longer, and you work smaller areas. So,
Yeah.
I want to reply to Handy Danny here before we bounce on to more good mornings. Danny, I have not gotten back to everybody. I've done a little survey of the Northwest here. I will be doing a certification program for both coding and for the IDA stuff this spring. I just haven't nailed down where we're going to do it. Probably be McMinnville, and my schedule got blown up for this coming week. Won't even get into that, but it'll probably be late March before we get there. So be patient with us. We will get something on the books here soon.
Awesome.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to my detailing friends from Denmark on the call.
All that.
Thank you very much. I'll tell you, my mother was the first generation born here in America. Her parents emigrated from Denmark, and my daughter currently resides in Germany. So I'm going to have to visit her. So I'm going to have to take a day trip at least at some point in the next couple of years. So we'll come up and visit. And then also want to say hello to Sarah Riles. Sarah, you're terrific. I met Sarah in Iowa at MCK when I did a class. Actually, we chatted on the phone before the class, and I encouraged her to go. And she's totally on board with P&S and with the IDA, and she's doing a great job in her detail business. We can't encourage people enough to get involved. It changes your business. Can I tell you exactly how and how it's going to happen? No. But if you're not involved, you don't know what's going on out there, and you don't know what other people are doing. It's really important to get involved. And I think Sarah would agree that the fact that she got involved instead of just sticking in her hometown has really changed her business a lot.
Yep. So we are now on the product question. So guess
Very
what?
cool.
You're on your own.
This is a great question. Whoa.
Hi there.
What product should a detailer start with? So I'll start and then we'll go back and forth, Prentice. So I think number one, obviously, start with. I'm going to jump ahead because there's obviously ones that you should probably start with first, but I'm going to say the carpet system. I think that our carpet system, it literally, it sets you apart from other detailers that don't use it by far. The carpet system is absolutely amazing. You're going to get out far more stains, and the customer is going to have a better, longer term experience with it. Just because, we neutralize the carpet bomber and all that. It looks better. It makes you feel like a magician. It literally does. What do you think, Prentice? What's one that you would say somebody would need to start with?
I would say Express Interior. I just love that. If you're using an all-purpose or general-purpose cleaner to clean the inside of your car, and you spray it, it makes you cough if you breathe it in, and kind of smells the next day after you're done. You can smell chemical. You need to switch to Express Interior. It is amazing stuff.
Yes.
I used to use, before I knew about Express Interior, but I still was into the P&S line, I used EnviroClean. And now, that doesn't even make sense to me, except on those cars that are really, really trash, deep grime. We had a 2011 BMW, and it was just beige interior, and the seats were so bad. And we tried Express, and it, even with scrub brushes, it didn't get it all out. So that's when you go to that. But I'll tell you what, Express Interior is a phenomenal cleaner. And I love to remind people that, as you're cleaning the plastic, vinyl, and leather panels with Express, if you see a little drip of coffee between the seats, you don't have to do the whole carpet system on that. Just give it a squirt of Express. Yeah. It'll take most of it out with your towel right there. So,
totally.
Very cool.
Another one I think is obviously Brake Buster. Assuming you're going to be doing exteriors, I think Brake Buster, and really I think this one's for the versatility, because while you're building up your supply, you can use Brake Buster for a lot of other things, like cleaning the floor mats, rubber floor mats. You can use it to get bugs off. You can use it as a pre-treat, for the lower panels if you've got a lot of grime. So not only can you use it on the wheels and tires, it is one of those products that in a pinch, or when you don't have all of your supplies built up, you can use Brake Buster for a lot of different things too, and it's perfectly safe to do that. So I think Brake Buster is definitely one that you would want to add. Okay, one more, Prentice.
Let me just add a couple things about Brake Buster. If you've got really crusty yellow headlights, but the customer doesn't want to pay for a full restoration, during your prep wash, spray some Brake Buster on that, and you'll see a lot of that stuff melt right off. And then you can come back with your buffer and give it a quick buff to bring out some of the clarity. It's also great on older white vehicles around the badges. If they've got a bunch of junk coat in the badges, you got to be careful with it, because it is a pretty strong cleaner. But usually those kinds of cars, the paint's so bad anyway that you're not going to make it look worse. And you just spray around the badges, let it sit for a minute, come back with a toothbrush or your favorite, toothbrush style detail brush, and it'll knock a lot of that dirt and junk out of there for sure.
Absolutely. All right, next question. Prentice, I love this question. Prentice, what old product do you miss that's no longer in the lineup?
Me. Actually, that's an interesting comment that I just made. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. Well, I got to be honest with you. I'm pretty much a double black guy. Before double black came into existence, that's kind of when me and Bob Phillips and Dave Phillips really got together. I can't say that I have a lot of experience with the previous lineup. So what about you, Sydney?
Well, as most of you know, most of them I pushed to bring back. So get my way on that. But let's see, what's one that I would like to still bring back? I'm a big fan of the tree sap remover, and I don't think there's a big push for that one. I'm a huge fan of it. I use it all the time. I love the tree sap remover, and
with the tree sap remover, the trick is to take that flip cap off and just put a sprayer into a trigger sprayer. Yeah. That way you can spray the little drops of tree sap and let them sit for a little bit before you wipe them off with an old towel.
Yeah. And you want to know, because I like to pair a product with a tool. And I think my favorite tool that I use with the tree sap remover, and I'm saying this because we just brought them in and you can get them at P&S now, but now I just forgot the bug scrubber from the rag company. Yeah. What's that called? Jersey bug scrubber.
Jersey bug scrubber.
I just forgot it. The Jersey bug scrubber. That thing, and you put the tar remover or the tree sap remover, which works on tar, the tree sap remover on that, and it just pulls everything off. And so because I just said it, it's not really a tar remover. We actually have a tar remover, but I always kind of grab the tree sap remover first and see if I can get it off with that, just because it is so much more gentle and mild than the actual tar remover. The tar remover is great, but sometimes I don't like to use it because if I'm going to be claying the car with the clay towel, that can cause an issue. So I like to use the tree sap remover first. And a lot of times that will take it off. And I really love that product. And paired with the Jersey Bug Scrubber, you can almost get anything off. Love it.
So I have a product here.
Okay.
Oh,
Platinum Cut. We still have Platinum Finish. We don't have Platinum Cut anymore.
Oh, okay.
And that's because we've evolved a little bit on the compound. But I really enjoyed that compound. We were in the early days of large throw DAs and figuring out how to use them and what pads. That was just a great product.
Yeah.
So that would be the one I miss that we don't have anymore. So.
Yep. All right. Well, I can't say, actually. It worked great, but I can't say.
what are you talking about?
The question, what did you use for your one step? I can't say. I can't say. Keith, you can move on to the next question.
Hey, we detailers, even though we're big PNS fans, we all have a couple of go-to favorites in special situations, right?
Yeah. Well, yes,
and we encourage that. We know that
it may have not been a PNS product, and it may have been a PNS product. But either way, I can't say.
Oh, could something new maybe?
Prentice, you're not helping my.
I'm sorry.
Pause here.
She can't say.
Got it.
We're not going to play Are You Hot and Cold?
Yes,
Tony, thank you. It was a Ford Maverick. That's so funny that you can remember what I did, but I can't. That's awesome. Alex, happy Monday, everybody. It's almost March. Yay. Thanks for tuning in from Canada. Alex, I got a box at my house for you this weekend. I'm so excited. Alex is coming to Boise from Canada for TRCMA, and some stuff arrived for him. So I'm excited about that. Edward, good morning from Ed Hirsch, PNS distributor, Eureka, California. Several of my new car dealers have been asking if the PNS mobile detailing specialist will be coming up here. Who's that? Is that you, Prentice?
What?
Who's the PNS mobile detailing specialist will be coming up here?
Oh, I don't think it's me.
I'm not sure who that is.
That would be you, Prentice. Yes, that would be you. I think he's referring to the PNS trainer.
Probably the mobile detailing trainer specialist.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes,
We're going to address that later in the show, Ed.
I spent many years as a mobile detailer. I can help.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. We love you guys.
What about knockoff versus breakbuster? Handy Danny says.
Oh, he'll get to that. Keith likes to go through each.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I don't know. Sorry. Obviously, I don't know the program.
You're fine.
Sometimes good morning.
Causing trouble.
Good morning.
Pascal looks like he's not from around here, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Terry Foreman, I'm a 3-time Prentice student. That's so awesome.
He must be an awful teacher if he.
Terry's probably going for like the record in how many PNS classes and events he can attend.
Wait a minute, Terry, you've been through 2 of my classes and you came back again?
Nacho Man in the house.
No, Terry's a great guy. Love working with him.
Too funny. All right. From Steve, hey, question about Bead Maker. Can it be applied over marine ceramic on a bass boat? Absolutely. Sure. Yep, you would use it the same way you do on a vehicle. Sarah saying good morning. That must be
in the house.
Bob Phillips. What's up, kids? Look at you, Prentice. You're one of the kids.
I'm one of the kids. Yay. I think it's only because I'm like 1 year younger than Bob.
So we got Jason Barker
here.
Woods. That's awesomeness.
Thanks for joining us, Jason. That's so nice. Okay, Nacho Man says, I'm having issues in Texas. My garage seems to be getting moisture in there. Yeah, so humidity is a problem, and it's a real problem when you're working. I know. You probably know way more than me. That's a tough one. So I think that, and I don't know how those portable dehumidifiers work.
They can
Um,
work pretty darn well.
yeah, I know I had one in my garage last year, but I had to leave it on AC the whole time, so I never got to run it as a dehumidifier. But I would maybe look into one of those. That's just a tough thing to battle, but I think that's probably going to be your only option is to try a dehumidifier. I do think that those machines are probably like anything else. If you buy one machine that does all of it, it may not do everything as well as it can. So I would maybe buy a dedicated dehumidifier that's specifically meant for that. Um, Keith, you used to be in Texas. Do you have any suggestions for people on?
Well, first, don't wash the car in the garage. So
Yeah.
even if you're doing a rinseless process, stop doing that in the garage. Do it outside.
Yeah.
I know that means direct sunlight and the high heat for Texas, but we have this little window that starts end of March and goes through about the middle of June with the humidity, and then it kind of dries out a little. But yeah, stop washing inside the garage. In Sydney, you've seen that. It makes a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
difference to not
Oh my
wash in the garage,
Yeah.
even if you're doing a rinseless process. That'll take some of the humidity out. But yeah, then the other part is you probably do want to get a dehumidifier. They make a huge difference, especially in a small space. They're pretty efficient.
The other thing I found that was a problem last year is because I really battled this last year because I do wash in the garage and I don't really have an option not to. But one thing I found that was kind of burning me in the middle of the night was I was leaving my buckets full of water. And when it's, warm outside and stuff, those buckets of water just became steam pots. So make sure you empty out all your buckets at night too. Don't leave your buckets of water sitting in your shop. I think that probably adds to it. I know for me it did. When I started dumping them out at night, it actually got significantly better. All right, Josh Pierce has a PNS ceramic coating certification on Saturday, March 4th, which is this coming Saturday in Iowa City. He has one spot left. So if you are anywhere near there, reach out to Josh. He puts on an absolutely amazing class. Maybe safe to say he might be better than the three of us.
He's got a great facility too, for
He
sure.
does. He's amazing. He's amazing. All right, Nacho Man. Not sure what's going on. I had to pull off all my stuff off the wall so I can inspect for any leaks, but the weather's been crazy. Yeah, you have had crazy weather in Texas, for sure. Does extreme temperature change or disrupt the curing process? Meaning you coat it, it sits in warm 60 to 70 degree shop overnight, and then goes outside in 5 degrees. Man,
I wouldn't think so. I mean, it's
probably
not ideal, but I don't think it changes the curing process. It might affect the curing time, and I'm actually not sure which way it would go. But
I think it would slow it down a little bit. Yeah, I mean, 70 to 5 might be a little bit. That's a pretty big, but it's going to take time for the panel to get down to 5 degrees. So I think it's fine because again, that's going to come back to the panel temperature. So, I think that probably more importantly, what I like to tell my customers is if the car's been, 60 degrees in my shop the whole day, I've coated it, and I'm one that I usually send them because, right, I work in my own personal home garage and, I don't have the luxury of keeping cars for several days. Or sometimes even overnight. So I usually send them. So if I send a vehicle and it's only been, an hour or two since I've coated it, 3 hours, if they park the vehicle outside, then I will usually keep it overnight for sure. What I don't want to happen is for it to go out and sit in 25 degree weather consistently overnight or for the day. So
moisture or dew.
Yeah. So I like it to sit in that 60 to 70 for a good 12 hours or so for sure. So that's the only time I keep them is if it's not going straight from my garage to their garage, I usually keep them. And I know that there's a lot of people like, why do you let it go? Well, because most of my customers live within like a 3-mile radius of me. So it's not like they're driving, an hour to get their car home. So I do release quite a few cars as soon as I'm done, but usually with the intention that they're going and putting it in their own garage. So I would say though, if it's 5 degrees outside and it's within the first 12 to 24 hours, if you can keep it longer, maybe do. That's a pretty big swing. But yeah, it shouldn't affect it too much though. It's really more that panel.
I tell the customers that I just kind of make it part of the chat about the coating process and how long it's going to take. I say, I got to have the car for 2 days. And I may not have it for the entire second day, but I just really like to have control of that vehicle for a good 24 hours if possible.
Yep. Cool. All right. Handy Danny says, I am in a totally uncontrolled climate. And while I haven't had the luxury of a covering and it's been freezing, it's just trial and error for all products. Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, I used to work outside and I just made everything work. I mean, I figured out what worked. So I worked outside for 2 full winters. Actually during one of the worst winters that Boise had, I was fully outside and I made it work. You know, I figured out sometimes I would, you know, there were certain products I kept like a bucket of hot water that I would, you know, keep some products in hot water just so that they didn't freeze. I just was creative. I just made it work.
Yeah. Turn the car on.
Yeah. Turn the car on. Yeah. All right, Jamie. Yes, Rainey did post quite the teaser with an unlabeled bottle. And that was not what I used on my one step. I will say that. That was something different, which is fun. Nacho Man, I noticed moisture when I went to clean the windows. Yeah, the windows. That's a tough one when you have humidity. The windows. I have had that issue. You wipe them and they look great, and then you walk back a few minutes later and they're hazed over. I'm not sure what to say about that. That's just that just, you need fresh air. You need to get that humidity out of there.
Yeah.
Handy Danny, you don't know a detailer's expertise until it's 28 degrees and even Express freezes on a door panel. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm such a wimp. My expertise is, can we reschedule?
Yeah. I need to think back of all the stuff I used to do. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was,
Oh gosh. Especially on a mobile basis.
Yeah.
The things you do to get things done.
Yeah. Desperation. So this was in regards to the products people should start with. Nacho Man says, I would say Brake Buster for the simple fact that you should be doing your wheels first on any detail. So I feel, yeah, I mean, I do my wheels first, but you know, sometimes things happen and you have to do them out of order, but yeah, usually always ideal. Handy Danny, dreams without goals are just dreams and inevitably fuel disappointment. Facts.
It's a good statement.
With daily drivers on the road through this crazy weather, what is a good PNS alkaline pre-spray with that foams? Have used EnviroClean, but haven't tried to foam it. So foam it, because that is absolutely the best pre-spray that we have is EnviroClean, and you can foam it. So definitely try that. Good stuff.
All right.
Oh, had screen issues. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. To get where you want, you got to go through things that you don't like.
So Handy Danny, Carnauba hand wax or Bead Maker for short-term protection and repellency?
Bead Maker.
Bead Maker for sure. Carnauba hand wax, I'm not really sure that I would say, for me, in my opinion, in all the products that I deal with, you know, Carnauba hand wax provides a lot in the visual sense. You know, it does a great job at like filling some scratches. It does a great job giving deep glow, but I don't know that I would ever, well, I guess it must protect a little bit because that's all my parents ever used. But yeah, if you're looking for protection, just go with Bead Maker for sure. You're getting all the good stuff. All right, Josh Pierce, this was in relation to what product would you like to come back? And so Full Throttle Polish, although it hasn't went away, it's a very underrated product that needs to get in the hands of more detailers. Absolutely true. I use Full Throttle more than any of the other polishes or compounds that we make. And this was on suggestion of Josh. And it is amazing. I love Full Throttle. Absolutely love Full Throttle. Awesome. Knockoff or Brake Buster. I live in a rural town and deal with hammered wheels, so I use Iron Buster and Brake Buster in an IK sprayer, and that usually works. So that's a great combination. Prentice, have you been able to use Knockoff very much?
I have not tested Knockoff, and I could not tell you. A Knockoff is really designed more for high production. Yeah. I believe it's a bit stronger than Brake Buster, but I'm not really talking out of expertise on that.
Yeah. So
Keith?
knockoff, and I see Keith in here because he's going to stop me from. Go ahead.
No, go.
So knockoff and breakbuster, so they're totally different. And I laugh online when I see people say that they're the same product because I'm like, clearly you have not used them. They are nowhere near the same. I mean, not even. I don't even think they share any family members. So knockoff is in the Chemtrol line, and it was like Prentice said, it was created to be a high production wheel cleaner. Um, For me, I don't care for it much. I think that when it's in a really high dilution, it works fine. It works great. But for me, it's all like the visual and the feedback. I like Breakbuster. I like the foaming. I like the workability of it. I like that it goes on tires and does such a great job. So just the visual feedback that I get from Breakbuster, I much prefer over knockoff. I do in my shop, I go through a lot of knockoff, which sounds so funny. But what I do with it is knockoff is what goes in my wheel cleaning bucket. So I pre-treat the wheels with whatever, crystal wash, brake buster, iron buster, whatever I'm doing, but I use knockoff in a more diluted form in my wheel bucket. And that gives me that extra, it keeps all of my brushes clean, and it just gives me, then the solution that I'm putting on the wheel with the brush, it gives me that little bit extra cleaning power. And that's how I like to use it, but I don't use knockoff as a standalone wheel cleaner. So to answer that question,
Yeah, that's really smart. So that way, every time you put your brushes back into the bucket and move to a different wheel, they're getting cleaned.
Yeah, it kind of pulls out some of that grime and stuff out of the brushes. So that's the process that works for me. I do go through a lot of knockoff, which is funny because, it's not my favorite wheel cleaner, but I like it in that way.
It's in the Chemtrol. That's why she uses it.
Right.
So knockoff is just a higher dilution rate alkaline wheel cleaner. Breakbuster is Breakbuster because of what it's in it and what it's made of. But knockoff is just a more traditional high pH wheel cleaner designed to be used on a faster basis. It's not a one or the other is better. It's just whichever one you prefer. So that's really the difference between them. It is certainly not. The only thing they bear in resemblance is they're both purple. That's it. That's all you got. So, all right. Here's the 3-time loser of the Prentice Academy. No, 3-time winner. Sorry.
I have Terry beat. I am a 3-time Prentice trainee and 2 or 3-time intern in his trainings, among other PNS trainings. Nice.
Yeah, Ramiro's terrific. Nice. He's a great guy. Thank you, Ramiro, for all your help.
And Mike, I'm sure this is directed at Terry. I can't believe he stayed awake. He always needs a nap. They always are giving Terry a hard time.
Hey, I take naps too. Terry and I, we spoon. I'm the bigger spoon.
Yeah. So Eddie says to Nacho, get a dehumidifier. I wash in my garage and it stays at 40% all day long.
Very nice.
Yep. Did this mystery step do any priming? No. Nope. I'm going to have to talk to Dave more about that. I know that there's lots of these primer polishes out there and stuff, and there's polishes that say that they prime and all that, but you get such mixed reviews on whether that's a good idea or not. I have a couple, I think they do okay, but I don't know, they seem okay now when I do it. They seem okay in a year, but long-term, is it okay? I'm not really sure. But if somebody could make a polish that filled all the scratches and that you could ceramic coat over it, that would be amazing. And Gordon McCall's here. Good morning,
Gordon. Hi. How are you?
PNS team right here.
Wow.
How many times have you been to Gordon's event, Prentice?
Oh gosh, I think it's 3 or 4.
Nice.
It's really, really fun.
Yep. I've been 3.
He's a terrific guy too.
Yes. Awesome. Steve also wanted to say the 59 Ford Galaxy I did with PNS products turned out amazing. That is awesome.
Nice.
I feel like I saw that. Very cool. I love working on old cars. It's almost that time. I have I'm just going to say this because I just thought about it. I have a 1970 Challenger coming in next week for a coating. I cannot wait. It's so amazing.
What color?
It's like burgundy.
Nice.
So pretty. All right. Fassetti said, with the cold Iowa winter weather, I've been keeping the car one extra day. That way I have some control over the curing time. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a great idea. Like I said, I send them because my customers' garages are very close and I only have one place to work. So, but yes, if you have the ability to keep them for sure. Good morning.
Cardinals in the house.
Yes. Gabriel. Good morning, Gabriel. Replying to Gordon McCall, and that includes yourself, Mr. McCall. Yes, Mr. McCall is part of the PNSA team for sure.
Yeah.
Fido's fiber only customer. What would you recommend for protection on fresh paint? I'm a nothing.
Yeah, the paint's got to gas out.
You have to just be really careful. Yeah.
Fresh
Yeah, you don't
paint,
want to put anything
and
on
you
there.
probably,
You don't want to put wax. You for sure don't want to put Bead Maker, anything, a sealant or anything with SiO2 in it. It's going to seal up those pores and not allow the the paint to off
solvents.
gas. So just be careful.
I've heard different lengths of time, 30 days,
Yeah.
60 days, 90 days. I would talk to the painter and see what they recommend.
Yeah. Jamie, my garage is always wet. It's a bottle sweating good time. I bet.
Oh, Keith mentioned if you need to make the paint look better after it's been painted, you could use Velocity Glaze, which doesn't really seal anything in. It just it fills in some imperfections.
Yes. Yep. All right. It's been 20 degrees here in, is that Massachusetts? I'm bad with my initials. I've sat on 2 cars for 3 days to make sure it cures. That's awesome.
Yeah. Boston,
Good deal. Carrie says, I'm looking forward to your IDA presentation next month, Sydney. I've got some trashed upholstery seats to do, and I just got the 3-step carpet bomber, terminator, and finisher. Any tips to get the seats clean? So yes, 2 things. So one, I do, and I need to post this in the Bead Maker Lounge, but I am doing the webinar for the IDA next month. I believe it's around the 15th. I can't remember, but it's called Diva in the Details. So I chose that title because I'm not really a diva, but some of the things I do, people laugh and say that I'm being a diva, but it's honestly just time is money, right? It's working smarter, not harder. Like it's all that stuff. So it's just cool tips and tricks to save you time, get things done faster, have a better finish, all that kind of good stuff. So watch out for that if you're an IDA member. That will be coming up in a couple weeks, and it will be a lot of fun.
It's the third Thursday, and I will just add that yes, Sydney is not a diva except with the coffee.
Yeah. Hey, I've done a pretty good job not complaining about this.
That's true. Horrible. You've only mentioned it 2 or 3 times now.
Okay, so back to you have the stain system. So that is all you need. That is what you need right there. So what I would do if the carpets and stuff are trashed, you want to make sure that you have a really good interior scrub brush. So one of the, I don't know how to describe this, but they're about a 2-inch by 2-inch square, with a handle with some stiff bristles. You want at least that. I think
they're called carpet brushes, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Most ideally is going to be either the drill brush or the brush attachment that goes on your polisher if you have one. People go back and forth. I prefer the drill brush. They're only like $6 or $7, and one will last you forever. So I would definitely make sure you have that with the stain system, and then you're either going to want an extractor or a steamer or something to help remove the dirt. If it's really, really dirty, you're going to want to use an extractor. The steamers are great and we can get away with those a lot of times, but if there's truly dirt and soda and stuff in those seats, you're going to want an extractor. And when I say that, what I do with the extractor is I will clean with the 3-part system, which we have several videos on our PNS YouTube channel that are great to see how to use that 3-part system. But once you've gotten this, the system worked in and somehow now you need to get it back out, I like to take actually a spray bottle with Absolute and, spray back over the area. And then I just use the extractor almost like a dry vacuum. I'm not putting more solution. I promise you that's not going to help and not going to be your friend. So, I use an additional bottle of either Absolute or, you could use an extractor shampoo if you really wanted, but I would spray it on top with like an IK sprayer or something like that, and then use the extractor to extract out, but I'm not adding more liquid into the situation. So, but go watch all of our carpet cleaning videos on our YouTube. There's some great ones there that will certainly help you through that process. So, and feel free to reach out offline as well to me, and I'm happy to help.
Chemtrol. Can I take this one?
How is it holding up? Is it worth the price for high volume shots? So I've had my Chemtrol now going on 3 years. I would never give it up. I absolutely adore my Chemtrol. Love it, love it, love it. And you guys know I'm a single operator in my garage. I'm not a high volume shop. My TrueView honestly gets refilled once a year. But so primarily the side of my Chemtrol that gets used is I run Absolute through it, which I cannot tell you how cool that is, having Absolute on tap. My Brake Buster, obviously the knockoff comes off that side, Pearl. So all of my soaps are on the high flow side that has the bucket fill. That thing right there, the bucket fill, that makes the Chemtrol worth it alone. Then on the bottle fill side, though, I have my Carpet Bomber running through there. I have EnviroClean. I have my Tempest from the Chemtrol line, which I go through so much of that. I probably refill that every other day. So just even for me, who I'm not really worried about controlling chemical usage or dilution, I'm not dealing with employees and stuff. I love it. I truly, truly love it. It makes my life so much easier. And, filling the bottles, not having to get a funnel, not having to pay attention to what dilution everything is. Everything's just right there. I don't even have to think about it. You guys will ask, what are you running this at? And I'm like, I have no idea. It's been in there in 3 years. So I absolutely love the Chemtrol. It's holding up great. I do think that I have run into a few challenges, which I actually called Keith about this weekend. My TrueView tip is clogged because I literally only fill it up, once a year. So like the whole spray bottle, right? And so I need to do some maintenance now after 3 years. I just need to clean my lines and clean my float valves and stuff. But otherwise, absolutely amazing. Love the Chemtrol. Huge fan of it.
So as somebody who works with a lot of high production detail operations like dealerships, in fact, I get on a plane in an hour and a half to go to New Jersey to spend 8 days at a dealership training.
Wow. Holy cow.
I will say that one of the biggest challenges at high production shops or high volume shops is getting everybody to do the right dilution when they're refilling bottles.
Yeah.
And when you have a system like Chemtrol, that all goes by the wayside. You don't have any more of those issues because it's controlled by the machine, by the device. So I really do recommend it. It's going to save you, whatever you pay to get the Chemtrol, you're going to get that money back in a matter of a couple of months in chemical savings. And then the chemicals are properly diluted in the way that you want them to be diluted in your shop. That way there's no guesswork to it. It really cuts down the guesswork.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Tony says wheels can go last on absolute maintenance washes. Fresh 5-gallon bucket does interior, exterior wheels in that order. Perfect. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And with you handy dandy, ultra cold paint sealant is my go-to for anybody that doesn't want a coating.
Yep. Good morning. Clarence the Detailer enjoyed the class Saturday.
That was good to see you.
Multiple mystery bottles. We got events coming up. We got to make stuff, right? Steve, to refer to full throttle, I was just advised by PNS to use it on a bass boat. I have to detail. Perfect. Yeah. Full throttle is amazing. So full throttle, I think the thing that I love the most is that the wipe off is so easy. So it does a lot of correction. And for me, I found that full throttle is very adjustable depending on what pad you use. And I know that's obviously like a commonly known thing, but I feel like it's one that you definitely see the difference, between the different pads. Yes. Full throttle and the Buff and Shine Blueberry pad is probably what I use 85% of the time. I love that combo. It's awesome. Chad says I have knockoff, but rarely use it when I have Brake Buster. Crystal wash. We were going to do my rental this weekend, but didn't get a chance. Heard it's great to remove light water spotting. Yeah, it can. I haven't really put it to the test on actual water spots, but I do know that I use Crystal wash to clean out in between the emblems, like Prentice was talking about earlier. That in the same way that a heavier acid to clean those emblems work, Crystal wash works great a lot of the time. So.
That's Joe Kimball, by the way. So
okay.
Thanks for chiming in, Joe. Good to see you on the show.
On that thing, so his name shows up.
We were going to do it, but we just didn't get there. So It's not really part of our formatted program, Sydney, that we've run
Right.
for a number of years now with the coding class.
Right.
But we got to integrate it, I think, going forward. So we may have to do a little tweak to our class.
Cool. Awesome. That's a good idea versus Pearl. I'm not sure what that might be in relation to. I didn't see when that one came in. Sarah, this is a great question. So not a chemical question, but going from detailing at home to going into a building, is there an insurance difference that I can still use error and omissions? Do I need to have more that just in case the customers leave their vehicle overnight? It's not my building. So this is definitely you'll want to meet with your insurance agent, and they will probably issue a totally separate policy. Because, I think for home, it's usually garage keepers. I think it might still be garage keepers in a building.
It's garage keepers. So I did an article on insurance
cool.
a number of years ago. You can probably find it online if you search for it. And I think I did put it in Auto Laundry News, and it kind of goes over all of the different insurances that you need to have if you have a building. You're going to have building insurance and business insurance, and definitely garage keepers as well.
Yeah. And so what I did is I actually, when I went through with my insurance agent on what everything was covered, that was one of the questions I asked is, what if I keep the customer's car overnight and something happens to it, overnight? And so they added in a special rider. They just made sure they put that in there. And it was just like what they called a special rider. So I had 3 things that were kind of out of the norm. And
that's if it's at your house. If it's in a building,
yeah.
Your garage keepers is going to cover that.
Right. Well, I have garage keepers here too, but it didn't cover it overnight which it was a gray area because, like, if for instance my house burned down. So it was one of those situations where they said, well, if the car was stolen, then your garage keepers would cover it. If your house burns down, then it was like a gray area. So that's what I kind of went through all these like crazy scenarios. What if the garage door unit falls on it in the middle of the night? What covers it? I kind of went through all these scenarios. And so that was just, I would, Sarah, that's what I would do is I would write down all the scenarios that you worry about and just run them through your insurance agent. Make sure, because just certain policies, even garage keepers with one company and garage keepers with another can cover different things. Like I know some people are covered to take wheels off. Some people are not. Some people are covered to use a lift. Some people are not. So you just want to make sure you ask those questions, because we don't want to just assume that everything's blanket covered because there's going to be like that one crazy thing. So just give your insurance agent all your scenarios and make sure you're covered.
All right. We are getting into lightning round, so that's why I'm here.
So, I actually have to jump off the call because I have got to go catch an airplane. So awesome. It's great to be with all of you. And
yeah, thanks, Prentice.
Yeah.
Prentice, do you have an announcement for us before you go, or do you want
to? I can't say what's going on, but something's happening, something wonderful. To grab a line from 2010: A Space Odyssey, and just stay tuned. I'm not going away. I'm just going to be in a different capacity.
Well, cool. So that leads us into, we got about 30 days before TRC. There's going to be a lot of big announcements coming out of PNS in the next 30 days. So you guys got to stay tuned. Prentice, thank you for being on the show today.
Prentice.
Great seeing you.
Really have fun in New Jersey.
Bye, everybody.
Give those devils a heck of a time, my friend.
Yes. Bye.
All right. All right, Keith, now you're my co-host.
Can we use BrakeBuster on Plasti Dip Wheels? You can use BrakeBuster on anything, but I wouldn't do it on Plasti Dip Wheels. You probably would run the risk of damaging them. And I will also say powder-coated wheels that are aftermarket powder coat done, and you got the bargain basement deal, wouldn't touch those either with BrakeBuster.
Yeah.
Because we've seen some less than favorable results there.
Plasti Dip wheels are hard. I had a vehicle once that we had a 2010 Challenger that we Plasti dipped the wheels, and we still would use wheel cleaner on them and stuff, but they were obviously ours, so we knew that there was a very good chance we would damage them. But Plasti Dip wheels are not going to last with anything. I mean, even if you run it through a car wash, if you spray it with a hose or a pressure washer,
yeah.
For me, Plasti Dip is like let me change the color and see if I like it. and then get them actually powder coated.
Yeah, I would maybe go with something like properly diluted 8 or 10 to 1 EnviroClean, maybe the most aggressive, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to take the chance. But we know that Brake Buster on a bad powder coating can actually have an effect. I am terrified to think of what Plasti-Dip would do. All right, I'm going to say this just up front. Go get IDA certified and qualified. This helps overcome some of the qualification issues. But Sid, I think this was directed at you when you first started. So tell us.
Yeah. So when you first started in detailing, did anyone treat you like you didn't know what you were doing because you're a female? Female detailers are just starting out professionally, but I've been detailing for a long time. So I wouldn't say that people acted like I didn't know what I was doing. I think there was always the question. I know for me, that's why I really like to always have in-person conversations with my customers. So a lot of them would schedule and then they'd come over and I would just kind of spend that 5-10 minutes right when they were dropping their car off, getting to know their main concerns. And I just found that when I would confidently ask them what their concerns were, what their concern areas were, and I would kind of go through and explain what I was going to be doing, and I would say, what my experience was, and basically right when I would start talking about it, it kind of put them at ease. And so I can't really say that I was ever treated like I didn't know, just because I think right from the get-go, they could tell that I knew what I was talking about. But it is, it's a little bit interesting to overcome. I've probably only had one person show up at my house that, I scheduled with them on the phone and all of that stuff. And then I came out, opened the garage door, and it was actually a woman though. And she said to me, I said, oh, I'll pull your car in. And I'm going through the whole thing, having this conversation with her. And she literally went, is it you that's going to do the detailing? And I said, yes. And she goes, oh, I just assumed that you were taking the phone call for your husband. And I was like, no. But that's only happened one time in 12 years. So, I think a lot of it is just confidence and, kind of making sure you're having that little education session with your customers. They really appreciate it. And so no, I think just, make sure that if you're confident and you show that you believe in yourself, that they're going to feel that energy off of you, and you shouldn't really have a problem. As far as the industry goes, there's a lot of women in the industry now, and I myself have not been treated differently. But again, you have to walk in the room with that confidence. So I think you're good to go. But then, like he said, join the IDA, definitely, listen to these podcasts. You start interacting with a lot of other people, and you realize that you're not going to be treated differently, which gives you a huge boost of confidence. So definitely, reach out, network. That's a huge one, is just the networking. If you let the men in the industry know that you're there and you're a force, they get behind you, they, support you, build you up. And, so for me, it's all about relationships, networking, continuing your education and, getting yourself out there and just being confident.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So PNS, Bead Maker, and Brake Buster are my go-tos. Absolutely. Right. Those are two that people couldn't take from us.
All right, this is from Brian Crosby. Root Bust Protect Advanced. We do sell Root Bust products. They're great products.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Root Bust Protect Advanced really fits in the same category as Ultra Coat Polish as far as a style of product. So if you don't have Root Bust Protect Advanced, try Ultra Coat Polish.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the answer.
Yep. All right. Can only pick one. Would you rather detail every day or make this content every day and travel around talking to other detailers?
I'm not making a choice. I'll do both.
I don't know that I could choose, honestly, because I'm definitely not one that ever has the goal of stopping detailing. I know that some people have that goal when they, people want to work for a manufacturer, they want to travel around and train, and it's because they don't want to detail anymore. That's not one of my goals. I love my shop. I love detailing every day. I don't ever want to stop doing it. I'm sure one day I'll get too old, but it seems like I have a lot of time just based on some other people that still detail. But, there's people out there that are like 70 that are still working hard every day. There's Terry.
Well, we're talking about our co-host that just left. Okay.
So I don't know that I could pick. I enjoy detailing. I love my shop, but I also enjoy networking with other detailers like that. that's why I do what I do. I love helping other detailers. I love training and talking about the products, and it's exciting to me. And I love the network. I love the industry. So I don't know that I could choose.
And
I don't
you
think
don't
I
have
can.
to.
That's like asking to choose between one of my kids.
Yeah, we're not going there.
There's certain days that I would answer that question. Today's not it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Dr. Beasley's line too in depth, but yeah, I've heard that their primer polish, you can just go right over it with coating. I think that's with most primer polishes. That's the goal of them. I don't know if they execute that well. So I can't speak to this, but we'll have to play with that just so we have some familiarity. Hey, more product to play with. Yay. Terry, by the way, says he is doing a 67 Ferrari this weekend.
That's awesome. So cool.
All right. Coating fresh paint. My local shop says 90 days curing. I think you're probably a shorter cure time than that, but 90 days is a really nice, safe number. And it's what you should educate your customer to do, because then you're covered, right? You got plenty of safe zone. The worst thing you can do is coat or seal something in its first few days because it doesn't allow it to cure properly, and you can have some really wonky paint. So better to take more time than less, I suppose.
Yep. Advice for just starting out. That's a big one.
Get
so
educated.
we're gonna have to keep this one kind of short since we're in the lightning round. My first advice is to do exactly what you're doing, which is listening to this podcast, listen to Q&As, listen to this every other week. We have this. The Rag Company has a Q&A every week for 2 hours on their channel. That's great. It's really going to be just absorbing as much information as possible, and then, find a training to go to. When you go to a training, you're going to meet other detailers of various different experience levels. And so, but definitely just immerse yourself in education. And then, the products, all the tools, all of that, you can kind of learn as you go. But these Q&As, even I learn stuff every day, and the information that you pick up from these and just, watching and listening to podcasts, you learn so much that that's going to be my answer for where to start, is just immerse yourself in education, not just the function of it.
And as we said at our class on Saturday, look, you're going to get some good knowledge here. You're going to learn some stuff. You're going to get hands-on. By the way, go to training where detailing is a participation sport. I call it that because if you can't get your hands on it and play with it, sitting in a lecture, for most people, is not the best way to absorb this industry. But the thing I told every student is, more important than anything you get out of the class is there's 16 people in here. Get to know 16 more detailers, because that networking, that resource, that lifeline. I mean, Sydney, with you and Levi, somebody to reach out to have a conversation with that's done this before. That's a huge part of it. So network and go to education and don't stop educating yourself. Learn new stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. What coating do you recommend for exhaust tips?
I don't coat exhaust tips because honestly, they're going to get too hot. Whatever you're going to put on there is going to burn off within days. So I don't, I know a lot of people like to, coat all the things, but exhaust tips are ones that you're kind of wasting your time on that. Go ahead and polish them. Things like Metal Bright has a little bit of protection in it. That's, the best thing you can do, honestly, unless your tips are black, don't use Metal Bright. But, there's really not a coating for, don't you agree, Keith? They just get so hot. It's going to burn off anything in such a short amount of time and to get them perfectly clean where the coating's going to bond.
Yeah. They say coatings will hold up to 1800 degrees in temperature. So, which is why you saw these guys setting them on fire. My bigger thing with the exhaust tips is it's usually a metal surface, which metal doesn't really take coatings well. And when I say that, I don't mean that they don't adhere. They lay down uneven. They just look wonky. You run greater risks of them not looking right more than you run of them coming off. And why take the risk on something that literally was a little bit of metal polish and some current maintenance, regular maintenance is fine. Yeah. So that's my thing, is they don't coat well.
Yeah. You're going to be better. If it's your own vehicle, you're going to be better using metal polish, keeping them clean, and, wiping them down with Bead Maker every time you wash your car. You're going to do a lot better. Anthony says, what are some PNS pads that are awesome to use that aren't as popular?
Well, I think this is a loaded question. P2703, P2704. Anthony got to use the wool pad, our hybrid open fiber wool pad, the lamb's wool, this weekend. And he's like, I got to get some of these in here. And that's all we used for the class. And they went really well. So definitely a pad that not a lot of people know that we've had for almost 4 or 5 years now. We are a buff and shine pad company for the most part. So it's really hard for me to say. I think the blueberry is probably one of your favorites, Sydney. And then the one that not everybody has and is not part of the Reflection Artist line, I think it's a travesty, is the orange Eurofoam pad from Buff and Shine. That is, as Sydney knows, that is my start point pad when I go to do my initial test spot. I just start there. That's my pad.
Yeah. Those wool pads, by the way, I know sometimes, historically we think of wool pads for compounding and major paint correction, but those wool pads, when paired with an all-in-one and pretty much any all-in-one, whether it's Playmaker, Ultra Coat, Polish, or even since we brought up the Uno Advanced, like magic happens. Literally, that's all. If I'm doing a one step with one of those products, I'm using that wool pad. It is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So good. Does not leave any marring, but it does a ton of correction with that, whatever liquid you're using. But definitely grab some of those. They are awesome pads, and they do a lot in a one step. So I'm not talking a one step if you're coating, but if you're doing a one step, polish and protect, use them for that.
Awesome. So the 2703 is the 6-inch, 2704 is the 5-inch. So, and I think it's, I think they're just a great pad. So here's an easy one. The answer is 4.
Well, does he mean 5-gallon buckets or 5-gallon containers? Because then that's actually, it could be 8, right? Because if you could run all 5s out of all 8 products.
For pickup from, it could be up to 8.
Yes.
For dispensing
delivery to, yes.
4.
Yes.
You got an input and an output. So,
so there's 4 on the bucket fill side. There's 4 that you can hook up to the bucket fill.
So you can fill 4 buckets. Sarah says safe travels, Prentice. Everybody says bye, Prentice. Thank you for the comments. So these are all safe travels. I'm going to kind of all news is going to be good. Yes, Kirby. So somebody asked us on here, when will these new products be coming out? Well, TRC is coming up, and that traditionally is a time when we might throw out a product or two and see what sticks to the wall. You never know. But we try to do something every quarter if we can, if we feel like we have a product that's ready to go. So, P&S, I will say this, we are more driven with the product being right and done and an effective thing that we think has a space in the market than we are about doing something on a timeline. So we have gotten to TRCMA before or a similar event and said, nope, we're not ready. We're not going to do this with some products. And we've had other opportunities with new stuff. So when we're ready, when we are there, when we feel like it's right, and not just right, but really right, then we'll bring out the product. So our target, obviously, TRC is always a fun place to do new stuff, but that doesn't mean it will happen then. It just means that's kind of a target. Yeah.
Yep. So we have that as a target. So let's talk about, since we're kind of on that, and then I'll answer this question, but we have a couple things coming up this month prior to our next. So we have Bead Maker and Coffee here in 2 weeks. But prior to that, you guys will see Keith and I are actually heading a week from tomorrow. We are heading to Big Bear with Bob, and is Dave coming up?
Or no? I know Rennie's coming.
Rennie,
don't know. Well, we're doing it at Rennie's place, but I don't know if we're going to get Dave there or not. I hope we can have Dave there, but it'll at least be the 4 of us, and we are doing Distributor University, so I'm excited.
Yep. It'll be our first one. It's been something that's been in the making for a long time. So I'm sure there'll be lots of pictures and stuff coming out, but we have a special training up in Big Bear at Rennie's shop for the distributors. So we have about 13 distributors coming up. Hopefully the snow gets better, because I saw that Big Bear got absolutely hammered this weekend.
They're
So
like at 16 inches this weekend.
gosh, yeah. So that will be happening right before our next Bead Maker and Coffee. So I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about with that. And then the first week of April, we have TRCMA, which we are really looking forward to. So, all right. So Claus says, Sydney, is BrakeBuster your go-to regardless of the condition of how dirty the wheel is? So it is. I pretty much use BrakeBuster on every single car. However, if the wheel is dirty, so if it's the first time it's been in my shop or if it's pretty dirty, then I always go to Crystal Wash first. So I pre-spray the wheel with Crystal Wash, which I just did a video on this within the last couple weeks. Pre-spray the wheel with Crystal Wash to kind of get all of that iron and brake dust breaking up. And then I spray BrakeBuster right on top of it. If they're super, super dirty, haven't been cleaned in 10 years, then I'm going to pull out the Iron Buster again as a pre-spray. And BrakeBuster goes right over that. And if it's just maintenance cleaning, maintenance washes, not crazy dirty wheels, then absolutely. So I would say I still use BrakeBuster on every single vehicle. It just might have a little kick right before it.
Yeah. And yeah, we finally did that video. We still have a Crystal Wash video to do. So
yeah, I have one for the paint, but and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Great comment from Eddie here.
Eddie says the industry needs more women detailers. Both my girls detail with me and they love it. So having role models like you, Sydney, and others who I show them when they doubt it can be a career. Yes, absolutely. And my daughter works for me as well. And I love that. She's 17. She's worked for me for several years and she's kind of takes me over sometimes.
She's not messing around, that girl.
No. All right. Thank you so much for the response. So helpful. So glad you joined us today. Handy Danny, full send or non-silicone for rubber floor mats? For sure, full send. The dressed is probably never going to completely self-level and not be kind of slippery, if you will, just because of the makeup of that product. So full send is, it's going to totally self-level and soak in and not be slippery. So for sure, full send. Pure Hertz Club, detail every day. It's a feeling of finished work for me. Yes, that is so true. And I tell people that when they say, why did you choose detailing? And I say, just my personality is I like to start a project and finish it every single day. Results driven. And, sometimes I look at some of these careers where they're like, oh, I've been working on this project for 5 months. And I'm like, what? I need to finish that by 4:00 this afternoon. Or
you got a basketball game to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. So totally.
So this is a question of the difference between Hawaiian shine and dressed.
Okay.
As much difference as there could possibly be on this planet is what the difference is.
Yep.
Dressed is a silicone-free product that is extremely safe to use and we can ship everywhere. Hawaiian shine is not even legal in certain states because of its VOC compliant status. Hawaiian shine is a super ancient old school solvent dressing, super shiny, great product, but not legal in I think 13 states and some provinces in Canada. So that's what we say about it. I love it, but it really, if you talk about a product that will go away someday, when we answer that question from earlier, that will be one of those products we say, yeah, boy, I really love that, but it's gone away because the compliance issue on it is going to catch up to it. So,
and don't ever use Hawaiian shine on rubber floor mats either.
Unless you like ice skating.
You will regret that.
You'll be buying new floor mats.
Yeah.
Or wipe and shine. I like wipe and shine on wet wheels. And I really like wipe and shine because I don't have to spray it, which I'm not a big proponent of spraying stuff on the car. So that's just me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love wipe and shine though.
Yeah.
All right. Chad says, thank you so much. Have a great day. You too. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
And these are all the thank yous. Have an amazing day.
Yes. The sun is out. I still have snow, but the sun's out. Pure Hearts gotta go, grandma duty, but definitely gonna watch the rest later. Thank you for sharing great advice. I love that you make quality products and also give tips and help and advice. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in.
All right. Last question of the day.
All right. This is a good one. Recommended PNS product to use in the engine bay. So let me start by saying I'm pretty picky when I actually detail an engine. I don't like to do them as a standard rule. So I only do a couple a year. I think that the risk involved is pretty high. So I personally choose not to do them in my shop, but I do a few. When I'm doing them, my favorite PNS products to use is I start with either Tempest or EnviroClean. Or Mudbuster works awesome as well. So one of those three, I'll spray down the inside of the engine bay, use brushes, and then I'll pressure wash or steam. I probably steam more engines than not. Like on classic cars, I will clean their engines, but I use my steamer with Absolute running in it. But I really love Tempest in the engine bay and then rinse it off. But then my favorite part is the finish, which I use either full send or natural finish, or even dynamic. Since it's back, we can say that again. I will use one of those three products because there are self-leveling dressings that will, like same with the rubber floor mats, is they're going to absorb in. You're not going to have to go back and wipe, and it's just going to leave a really nice, clean, brand new finish. Hydrate those hoses, all that kind of stuff.
I would say if you're new to doing engines, EnviroClean's your answer. If you are an old school veteran and you've done this a lot, Tempest is it's actually a heavy duty degreaser. Another product that I have seen used and I do like, because engines are more grimy today than they are greasy. I have seen Breakbuster work in there, but again, if you have bare powder coating, maybe you want to avoid that. And I'm with Sydney. I'm a natural finish guy on a wet engine because it'll level out, it'll dry, and it'll be just a nice matte finish. Won't look shiny, greasy, or oily like the engine compartment will catch on fire. And never, ever, ever, top tip, use a solvent-based dressing in the engine compartment. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
We don't like to set stuff on fire. Well, some of us do, but not in the engine compartment. So which tire dressing is your favorite? All of them, but I probably am going to guess dynamic for you, Sydney.
Yep.
Or wipe and shine.
Dynamic or wipe and shine. Those are my two go-tos.
All right, Kirby, you have ended the show. Congratulations. That's all we got for today. Remember, everybody, TR SEMA is in a month. Next Bead Maker in Coffee is, 2 weeks away, 13th of March. Stay tuned for who our special guest will be for that one.
Yep.
And cool. Sid, have a great day. Stay warm. Yeah. I still have snow outside on the ground, so I don't think it's warming up anytime soon.
Crazy. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you.